Today we welcome Adrian Metcalfe, director of LighthouseTheatre company, the producers who are producing the Shirley Valentine tour, which is about to come out. Can you tell us a little bit about Lighthouse, how it came about, what your aims are, and where you see it in the future?
Well, Shirley Valentine is our 12th production, and we've been going now for 7 years. Lighthouse Theatre came about as a result of my adapting a very well-loved piece of work by Noel Coward called Still Life. Still Life is the play that became the film Brief Encounter. So obviously it's set in that sort of railway cafe. And we embarked on a tour, as I say, about 7 years ago, adapted for 3 actors. That then took on another life. We went to South America with it, toured around, and so we needed to have a theatre company. We're based in Mumbles in South Wales, and Lighthouse Theatre came about simply because we were having a pint in a pub on the front, and we looked out through the window, and what did we see but a lighthouse? And we thought we'd name it after the place where we lived and where we're based. So Brief Encounter happened, and then since then we've gone on to other things. We do a lot of work that's based in the community. We do an awful lot of poems and pints. We do an awful lot of promenade shows. We've even done a history show on bicycles based on the history of the Mumbles Railway. Shirley Valentine, as I say, is our 12th touring show, and that's touring all over Wales into mainstream theatres, mid-scale, small-scale, and village halls as well.
One of the productions that I saw quite a few years ago now, which is Gold Street Runners, great story, obviously based on true life. How did that come about?
Gold Street Runners is a play with music. It would be too much to say it was a musical, but it's a play with music based on the 3 night splits of Swansea. The music that we use in the show is the music of the period, so 1940s, and that very evocative music from that time. The production itself came about as a result of a small piece that I wrote for the radio to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the 3 night splits in 1941. The radio piece was very successful, and people said they'd quite like to see a stage show. So with some help from the Arts Council and from the Swansea Grand, I spent a great deal of time investigating and researching the period, interviewing, if you like, survivors, some of whom sadly no longer with us, but people who'd lived through the 3 night splits. And that one name that kept coming up every time was one of the streets that hadn't been rebuilt as a result of that bombing, Goat Street. And I found out more and more and discovered how evocative a place it was, with wonderful arcades and shops, and so the piece grew up around that, the history, if you like, of an imaginary family, but nevertheless a family that's very deeply based in the history of Swansea. And so there were all sorts of memories and recollections that, with people's permission, we used. Not least the rather amazing fact that one lady, when she was celebrating her 5th birthday on the first night of the 3 night splits, and she was about to sit down with a cake. The air raid sirens went, they disappeared, left a cake on the table. 3 days later she came back, the cake was still there. The house had gone, but the cake was still there. And that seemed to me so unbelievable that you could put it into a story. And so that was Goat Street Runners. And since then we've done other work. We've done a wonderful play by a North Yorkshire author called On Scarborough Front, about the First World War poet Wilfred Owen. We've been very lucky to work with the wonderful Malcolm Price, the best-selling Welsh noir author, and he adapted his comic bestseller Aberystwyth Mon Amour into a stage play for us. And so Shirley Valentine marks the culmination of a long period of work, and it's something that we're very much looking forward to.
Was Shirley Valentine a difficult play to get the rights for?
It took some time, I think, is the best way of describing it. Difficult is hard. It's hard to use that word difficult, I should say, on the grounds that the response was very easy every time we asked. No, they're not available. But when they did become available, the person in control of the rights got in touch with us straight away and said they're now available for Wales, and it had long been an ambition of ours to put it on, so now we are.
And you seem to get a lot of support from the Grand Theatre. How helpful have they been in all of your productions?
Invaluable. They are partner producers in everything that we do, pretty much, and they supply us with a great deal of help, rehearsal space, their marketing machine is great, and they allow us the time to develop the work in the way that we want to. And the Art Swing is a great, very versatile space that allows us to play with ideas. So in that regard, their support is invaluable.